I would be willing to wager just about any amount of money, dollars to donuts, that the vast majority of the men in my audience know exactly what this military device is on the screen in front of them. In fact, I'll bet of the men in my audience, a good portion probably served in the military and at one point or another probably learned how to employ one of these things. Now, ladies, I'm sure there's some of you out there as well, but just stick with me on this because it's important to establish this particular fact because it's going to explain something that applies to everybody. It's a Claymore mine, and engraved, stamped right on the front of a Claymore mine are the words front toward enemy. Some of it even said this side toward enemy. Because that's an important thing to distinguish with a Claymore mine. What's the business end of it and what's the safe side of it, right? That seems like common sense. Well, what if I told you there's a huge amount of people out there right now in this country who have no concept of common sense when it comes to weapon, and the vast majority of them are on the right. They're conservatives. They're alleging there's a weapon out there and it's being used against a certain group of people, and the people using it are standing in front of it as well. Wait, what are you talking about, Mucky? What? Stick with me. Real quick, though, as always, gratitude. Biblical values first. Thank you, everyone who's continued to join us over at Patreon channel. Very much appreciate it. This video right now that you're listening to, we're going to talk about a very specific concept that we have talked about over at the Florida Mucky Patreon channel. I'll bet you there's some folks out there who are members of my channel right now that know what we're talking about. It's a very basic concept, 24 cognitive biases, 24 logical fallacies that make people believe things that aren't true, even when they're patently illogical. It's because of emotion. Now, if you'd like to join us over there, real quick, there's 4 levels, 2, 5, 10, 15. Whatever level you want to join at, there are tons and tons of videos to watch, going back all the way to 2018, and it's fully refundable, first 90 days, no questions asked. Let's get right to it. What are we talking about? We see if you employ a Claymore mine correctly, one person, theoretically, could take out half a platoon if they know what they're doing and they have the right timing. It's a force multiplier. But even here, you can see the words front toward enemy. See, the idea is you go put it somewhere nobody can see, and then you run a camouflaged wire back to your safe position over here. And then they give you this little clicker device. And once everybody's at a safe place and you want to deploy it, you click this device. And it's basically a giant, it's actually far more devastating than even a grenade is. Because it's a shaped charge that blasts out in a certain radius and in front of it. And you can easily take out 6, 7, 8 guys with one of these things. No problem. Now, if that's the concept of all weapons, that those employing the weapon need to be safe from the weapon. Whether you're driving a tank, whether you're using a rifle, whether you're throwing a grenade or employing a Claymore mine, you have to be safe, right? Now here's the part that's going to blow your mind. There's a whole bunch of people out there now, they're claiming that there's some secret society out there, that some secret deep state group that has stuck spray nozzles on all of the aircraft that fly over America. And these aircraft are spraying chemtrails and poison over the entire country and blocking out the sun, all this. Okay, the people that are doing it, if it's truly the case that it's what's happening is this harmful, detrimental, horrible weapon that's attacking the people on the ground, are they not also the people on the ground? I mean, are the people that are employing this, do they live in space? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. We live on a flat Earth with a firmament dome, and there's no such thing as space. I forgot. So they would have to then be living here, on the ground, under the chemtrails, with you. All 45,000 pilots, daily pilots, and co-pilots across the United States that fly every single day, 45,000. And all of their families and all of their children and all of their loved ones and their grandparents, they're spraying them too. They're spraying them too. Even if you would allege the pilots have no idea that this is going on, or they have no control over it, the people that would have created the poisons live here on the surface of the planet, or the surface of the flat turtleback dome, whatever you want to call it. They live here too, whomever they are. They live down here too. So they would literally be standing, if you want to say that this chemtrail poison spray is just a version of a Claymore mine, they're standing on the enemy side of it. Can anybody explain? See, there's this guy, Tim Walters, Florida Today, 21 February 2025. Hey, chemtrail conspiracy theorists, answer these 20 questions to gain legitimacy. Now, he's just being kind of a smartass here. But the point is, he doesn't even get this. Of his 20 questions, he doesn't even ask this one. He doesn't even ask this one. He asks all the basic ones that you go through. And is it in the fuel, separate canisters? Do the pilots know? Is it just big planes or small ones? Is it all over the globe or just the U.S.? If it's also the part of the SpaceX rockets, shouldn't Doge do something about this to save money? Is it the plane manufacturers that are in on it? Who's manufacturing the chemicals? Where's the depot that manufactures enough chemicals to go into 45,000 planes every day? That'd be some huge refinery to get that level of spray going every single day. Is it somewhere else? Where's the money come from? Once again, wouldn't Elon Musk and Doge have stopped all this already? That's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. Front toward enemy, right? Why would you employ a poisonous substance that you would drop over the entire face of the place that you lived? Because they live there as well. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. Now, Florida Maki, how are you possibly going to work girls in bikinis and people at the beach who are in shape into a story like this? Well, it's real simple. Your eyes, when coupled with your emotions, can sometimes lead you down the wrong path. Can they not? You see, when you go to the beach, guys go to the beach, and they go there to girl watch, or whether girls go there to guy watch, however you want to look at it. It's an emotional thing. It's not a thought-based thing. Nobody logicalizes a day at the beach, right? See, when you equip your mind with the ability to know that there are two functions going on at the same time, thought and emotion, and they don't have any space to operate at the same time, you'll start to understand something. It's called correlation causation. See, in the summertime, especially here in Florida, ice cream sales go up. So do sunburn rates. So clearly, if people would stop eating ice cream, they wouldn't get sunburns. Right? I mean, it's almost a direct correlation. Oh, we'll talk about this. This is actually a picture for another video, but we'll get to that. But why are people living longer? Why are people living longer? See, this was a special that was done on Inside Edition on this woman. She's much like many others down here in Florida that live into their 70s and 80s and into their 90s, and they're active and they're in shape, and they seem to have somehow turned off the aging process. Yet Florida is one of the most flown over states. I mean, we have more airport. I would bet to say that Florida has more airports by activity than any other state in the union. I mean, there's two huge ones in Orlando. There's Miami. There's Fort Lauderdale. There's Jacksonville. Forget all the naval air stations. There's Pensacola. There's Key West. There's Tampa. St. Pete. I mean, there's just airliner after airliner after airliner. Yet the people that come down here, gosh, they seem to feel better. They seem to feel more healthy. Unlike 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, when somebody who was old, hey, quick poll here. How many of you knew that the reason you see 55 and over communities and retirement age is 65 is because at that point, when those things were established, 55 was seen as the time in life when you're probably going to have to need some help getting around. And by 65, you're pretty much going to be, on your way out, so to speak. I mean, if you make it to 70, you're going to be a super, super old person. Why are there 55 and over communities? Because when 55 and over communities were established, 55-year-old people were old people. Now there are 55-year-old people, quite a few of them, that are still very, very active, and they go run marathons, and they go do all sorts of things, and same thing with 60 and 65-year-old people. Why have we put 20 years on to life expectancies and health if this is the case? You see, here's the real story. 11 minutes in, here's the real story. Every year this time, and that's why I'm doing this video, every year this time, the chemtrail people push all of their stuff out because they know people are feeling like crap. Why are they feeling like crap this time of year for a little bit? Is because of the tree pollen in the South. How many of you have seen the conspiracy theories? Oh, if you live in the southern part of the United States, they are spraying you like crazy. Oh my gosh, the chemtrails are terrible. That's why you're feeling sick and you're feeling tired and you're feeling bad. It has nothing to do with it. It's the pollen. All across the South, from Texas, this happens every year. And the videos about the chemtrails go through the roof this time every single year. Every single year. And in the fall, what is it? Of course, it's the weather mod that's going to send the hurricanes. Even before there was, you know what I'm talking about. They find something going on, and then they trace it back because they're just living emotionally. It's just peak pollen. It's just peak pollen, and if you don't think so, watch this. This guy's going to just bump this tree. And I want you to see what happens here. You ready? This guy just tapped that tree with his digger. And look at the massive cloud of this huge pollen bomb just off that one tree. That's what's happening. Think about this, divorced from emotions, especially you military guys. If chemtrails were a weapon, imagine a Claymore mine where there was not engraved on it any warnings as to which side went toward the enemy. Or maybe imagine a circular one, of a fully circular Claymore mine. How in the hell would you employ a fully circular Claymore mine? Or the part that is supposed to be behind the Claymore mine doesn't exist, like space. It doesn't exist, right? Think about it critically. How in the world could the people who are allegedly doing this escape this? Think about it. How do they escape it for themselves? Because clearly they're attacking you, not themselves, right? Is there some magical anti-chemtrail vax out there? If there was, you probably wouldn't take it anyway, right? Because it has that three little letters on the end of it, VAX. Do you see my point now? This is why I started the Patreon channel. Talking about cognitive biases and logical fallacies and how when you get caught up in your emotions, you can be led to believe anything. As long as somebody attaches an emotion to it that you're familiar with, and there's groupthink going on, and then you add the internet, that's all it takes. So I guess down in the comment section, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. What was their plan? What was their plan to not be in front of the giant Claymore, atmospheric Claymore mine that is chemtrails? What was their plan? Where are they when they spray? Do they live deep underground and then they're shipped to the surface when their flight comes and they come in this giant sealed bubble that then gets inserted into the plane and then they just fly the plane again and then they hop into their little bubble again and they're shipped directly back underground? Is that how it works? So that they don't have to breathe it? Or even live with the consequences of those? I mean, I think you get my point. So once again, God bless. Thank you guys so much for being a Patreon. Very much could use support. If it's God leads you to do it, thank you so much. Like I said, fully refundable first 90 days for everybody. No questions asked. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.